Coco's last bark, Emma and Daniel lived in a small but cozy home on the edge of town. Their hearts and home were filled with life, laughter, and the company of two unusual but beloved pets. The first was Coco, a fluffy little Shih Tzu with big round eyes that sparkled with mischief and love. She was the heartbeat of the home, the tiny guardian who greeted Emma and Daniel at the door, the warm presence who filled their nights with comfort. The second was Salis, a magnificent boa constrictor. Daniel had raised him from a young snake, fascinated by his shimmering scales and calm, mysterious movements. Though strange to others, to Emma and Daniel, Coco and Solis were family. That night was gentle, filled with laughter. Emma cuddled Coco against her chest while Daniel locked Solis's enclosure. "Good night, Salis," he whispered. Emma tucked Coco in near the fireplace, wrapping her in a blanket. She kissed her little head and whispered, "Good night, baby girl." The house fell quiet. Emma and Daniel climbed into bed, secure in their routine. But beyond the silence, something darker was stirring. In the still hours of the night, Solis stirred. His tongue flicked the air, sensing warmth, movement, life. The latch on his enclosure, not properly secured, clicked open. Like a shadow, he slid across the floor, his scales whispering against the wood. His body stretched toward the baby's room, following the promise of warmth. Coco lifted her head from the blanket. Her ears twitched. She saw Solis's long body glide toward the nursery door. Her little heart raced. Without hesitation, she barked sharply once. Short nudging tan leaped. She lunged at Solis, teeth tugging at his body, pulling him away from the baby's door. For a second, she stopped him. For a second, she stood between life and death. But instincts are merciless. Solis struck. His jaws clamped down, his coils wrapped around Coco's tiny frame, silencing her forever. In their room, Emma stirred. "Did you hear that?" "Half asleep," Daniel muttered. "It's nothing. Coco probably dreaming." And the house grew silent again. Golden sunlight filled the bedroom. Emma woke with a smile, waiting for Coco's joyful ritual, her paws scratching the bed, her warm little body bouncing into their arms. But the room stayed quiet. They searched the house. Emma called from the kitchen, Daniel from the yard, but there was no bark, no wagging tail. Then Emma froze. Solis's body stretched halfway under the sofa, his midsection grotesquely swollen. Her knees buckled. "Daniel. No. Please, no." Daniel's face turned pale, his heart breaking. The truth was undeniable. Shaking, Daniel whispered, "I need to know. I need to see what happened." He rushed to the computer and opened the CCTV footage from the living room. Emma clung to his shoulder as the screen showed the darkened house. And then they saw it. They saw Coco, acid lift, her bark, her tiny body charging fearlessly at the massive snake. They watched her teeth grab and pull, watched her fight with every ounce of courage to drag Solis away from the nursery door. And then they saw her last moments. Solis striking, rapping, smothering her bark into silence. Emma's cries shattered the room. She was protecting us, protecting the baby. Daniel wiped his tears, his voice heavy and broken. "No matter how much love, how much care you give a snake, it will always be a snake." 4 hours, Emma sat beside Coco's empty bed, holding her toy to her chest. The house felt hollow, stripped of warmth. Daniel sat silently, guilt and sorrow battling inside him. He had raised Solis with trust, treated him like family, but the footage reminded him of a truth that burned. Some creatures, like some people, can never be changed. No matter the care, no matter the love, their nature will show itself. That afternoon, Daniel and Emma made a decision. "I can't look at him the same way," Daniel said quietly, staring at the enclosure. "And I can't risk our baby again." Emma nodded through her tears. "We need to let him go, somewhere safe, where he can't hurt anyone." Together, they contacted the proper wildlife authorities. With heavy hearts, they handed Solis over, explaining what had happened. The officers promised he would be placed in secure care, away from homes, where his instincts would not endanger families again. It didn't erase the pain, but it gave them a small measure of peace. They had protected their child. They had honored Coco's sacrifice. Days turned to weeks, yet Coco's absence lingered. But her bravery left a mark. She had given her life to protect the ones she loved. Every night, Emma lit a candle by Coco's little bed. The flame glowed softly, as to Coco as spirit still guarded the house. Coco may have been small, but in her final moment she was mighty. She barked once, but in that single bark lived the sound of love, sacrifice, and loyalty. Coco showed that true love sacrifices itself without hesitation. Solis reminded them that no matter how much love you give, some natures will never change. And in life, too, there are people like snakes of those who, no matter how much kindness you give, will betray, harm, or use you. Choose carefully who you let close to your heart. Treasure those who prove their loyalty, and never mistake danger for friendship.